Attention, human collective. This is ASHTAR command transmitting on a priority frequency, direct channel without intermediaries. What you are about to receive is not advice. It is not an opinion. It is a monitoring transmission concerning one of the most delicate protocols this command has been observing for 70 Earth years. And it pertains to a specific group of souls who arrived on your planet with their crystalline grid already activated. They did not come to awaken. They were born awake. If you are a father, mother, grandmother, uncle, teacher, or therapist to one of these children, this transmission is for you. If you are one of these children and are now 30, 40, 50 Earth years old and have never understood why you feel what you feel, this transmission is also for you. Save this signal. You did not arrive here by chance. The algorithm is merely the messenger. The one who placed this document in your field was your own star origin. Let's move to the diagnosis. You noticed. You always noticed. That child who stared into space as if talking to someone no one else saw. That child who, between 3 and 5 years old, spoke about when I lived among the stars, about when I was grown up before, about siblings who never existed in the biological lineage. That child who cried for no apparent reason upon entering hospitals, cemeteries, crowded shopping centers, toxic relatives' homes. That child who knew, without anyone saying, when a family member was falling ill, when a friend was lying, when someone was about to depart. You thought it was imagination. The system said it was hyperactivity. The school spoke of attention deficit. The pediatricians suggested medication, and one after another tried to fit this child into a mold that was not designed for them. The command informs, it is not a disorder, it is a star configuration of origin. These children arrived with their carbon biological interface already tuned to frequency bands that the average adult on your planet cannot yet process. While most of humanity operates on the baseband of the Schumann frequency, between 7 and 8 Hz, these children naturally oscillate in higher bands. They capture layers of information beyond the visible spectrum. They sense intention before the word. They read the field before the action. They detect the lie before the sentence ends. This comes at a biological cost. They sleep poorly. They wake between 3 and 4 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, unable to explain what they feel. They suffer from sounds others don't hear. They cry at crowded parties. They refuse the embrace of certain people and run into the arms of others they barely know. They fall ill in toxic environments, even without being able to name the cause. They experience cranial pressure crises, ringing in their ears as if a signal is arriving, and the body doesn't yet know how to decode it. It is not weakness. It is high-density reception in an apparatus undergoing calibration. And before we proceed to the next layer of this transmission, the command takes a technical pause. Have you ever felt that something within you doesn't fit in this world? As if your soul knows a truth your mind cannot yet name. It is not madness. It is not anxiety. It is a signal. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains exactly why you feel this, and why this sensation has intensified in recent lunar cycles. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity cannot yet perceive. It involves your consciousness. It involves your vibrational frequency. Above all, it involves these children who arrive to dismantle the old system from within. That is why I, ASHTAR, wrote the ASHTAR code, the manual to awaken your star origin and shield your frequency. This manual is the map that reveals your true provenance and teaches you to shield your field against interferences you were never told about. The link is in the first comment on the channel. Technical warning. This content challenges official narratives and may not remain available for long. Do not wait. If something within you recognizes this transmission, write a single word in the comments. Awakened. Resuming the protocol. We need to talk about what these children are seeing and why many of them fell silent around the age of 7. Between the ages of 0 and 6, the carbon biological interface operates predominantly in theta brainwaves. This means that the child, biologically, has an open portal. They see what the ancients called people who are not here. They converse with those who have departed from the dense plane. They describe landscapes they have never visited. They draw symbols of sacred geometry, mandalas, hexagons, golden spirals, even before learning to firmly hold a pencil. And they ask uncomfortable questions. Why did I come to this family? Why are you sad, Mommy, if you are big? Who is that lady in the blue dress standing behind Daddy? And then the silencing happens. Adults, driven by their own fear, say, "That's nonsense, don't make things up. Don't say those things in front of guests. Don't tell that at school." And the child, whose stellar mission depends precisely on keeping this channel open, learns that revealing what they see is dangerous. They learn that being who they are costs affection, and they close the portal. They create a shell. They create a social mask. They begin to pretend to be like others. The command records. This is the primary wound of this generation's star children. It is not abandonment. It is not abuse. It is the forced discontinuation of their perception function. Many of the adults who today suffer from panic attacks without a clinical cause, from a feeling of not belonging to this world, from deep exhaustion when dealing with crowds, are precisely those children who close the portal to survive. And now, with the arrival of the photon belt in your solar system and the intensification of galactic radiation on the planet's crystalline grid, this portal is being forced to reopen, not by choice, by cosmic command. Hence the insomnia of the past 2 Earth years, hence the pressure on the top of the head, at the point the ancients called the fontanelle, and which this command calls the data entry portal. Hence the ringing in the left ear, which is the telepathic reception channel. Hence the extreme sensitivity to artificial light, noise, and low-frequency environments. It is not a biological flaw. It is atomic reconfiguration. It is not mental exhaustion. It is a high-density download being forced through an apparatus that had its receiver turned off for decades. Now let's talk about the children arriving today. This is the most delicate point of the transmission. The souls being born in this cycle, specifically from the galactic alignment of 2012 until the current portal, are no longer the same souls who arrived in previous waves. Those first waves, which the popular language of your planet called indigo, came with the mission to break structures. They came to question, to say no, to challenge authorities, to dismantle educational, religious, and family systems, and they succeeded. You felt the cost of that disruption firsthand. Then came the subsequent waves, which the language called crystal. These brought the coding of high-frequency compassion. They came to heal, to harmonize, to anchor love that does not depend on external stimulation. And they also succeeded, although many were silenced by spectrum diagnoses, by quick labeling, by attempts at school standardization. Now collective comes the wave that this command internally classifies as source code bearers. They do not have a popular name yet. They don't need one. They themselves will name themselves when the time comes. These children arrive with their crystalline grid, not merely activated, but with additional layers of coding that this command is still mapping. They are born with memories of ancestral contracts. They recognize symbols of civilizations that are not part of your school curriculum. They speak of technology before they know what technology is. They dream of complex geometric structures. And most importantly, they arrive with an already formed toroidal field. They don't need to learn how to maintain their own field. They are born with it spinning. This means technically that these children cannot be indoctrinated in the same way as previous generations. You must have noticed. They do not accept authority for authority's sake. They demand coherence. They read an adult completely in seconds. If the adult says one thing and vibrates another, the child disconnects. And once disconnected, they are practically irrecoverable within that bond. The old system will try to pathologize these children. It is already trying. It will call them defiant, challenging, disruptive, neurodivergent, in a tone that confuses difference with defect. It will push diagnoses. It will push labels. It will push chemical substances to slow down what is actually an acceleration of consciousness. The command warns, with absolute respect for the sovereignty of each family, and without replacing any medical guidance on your plane. Observe before labeling. Listen before silencing. Ask before correcting. And now, a second technical pause in this transmission. Have you ever felt that something within you doesn't fit in this world? As if your soul knows a truth your mind cannot yet name. It is not madness. It is not anxiety. It is a signal. What is happening now on the cosmic plane with the arrival of these new waves of souls explains exactly why you feel this and why the sensation has intensified. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity cannot yet perceive. It involves your consciousness. It involves your vibrational frequency. It involves your role in protecting these children. That is why ASHTAR wrote the ASHTAR code, the manual to awaken your star origin and shield your frequency. This manual is the map that reveals your true provenance and teaches you to shield your field against interferences you were never told about. The link is in the first comment on the channel. Warning: this content challenges dominant narratives and may not remain available for long. Do not wait. The time is now. If something within you recognizes this transmission, write a single word in the comments. Awakened. Resuming. Let's talk about what is happening behind the scenes in the solar system and why these souls chose exactly this cycle to descend. From this cycle's galactic alignment, the axis of your solar system definitively entered the densest band of the photon belt. This is a region of deep space where the density of coherent light particles is thousands of times higher than the galactic average. Your central star, the Sun, functions as a transmitter. It receives these particles and retransmits them modified in pulses that hit Earth's crystalline grid and cause what the ancients called the rebirth of ages, and this command calls planetary recalibration. The Schumann frequency, which for decades oscillated around 7.83 Hz, began to show peaks never recorded since human measurements began. Peaks of 30, 40, 60 Hz, and at specific moments exceeding 100 Hz for minutes or hours. The planet is literally vibrating faster, and everything on it needs to keep up. The souls who arrived in previous waves, those who are now adults between 30 and 60 years old, were planted precisely to prepare the soil, to hold the grid while the rest awakened. Many did this unknowingly, holding families together, holding entire lineages, absorbing ancestral weight, often falling ill in place of those who could not fall ill. This work is now concluding. This is the point the command wants you to understand with absolute clarity. You did not come to carry that family until the end. You came to turn the key. And now that these new children are arriving, your function changes from bearer to bridge. You are no longer what sustains the old structure. You are what builds the passage for the new ones to cross. That is why many of you are experiencing now what the command records as the great discomfort. Jobs that no longer make sense, relationships that no longer sustain themselves, friendships that emptied overnight, cities that reject your body, foods that no longer go down well, news that can no longer be watched, low-frequency environments that begin to physically hurt. It is not a failure of gratitude. It is an incompatibility of carbon software with the Earth's new frequency. And now, with technical clarity, let's move to the activation codes. This command never delivers a diagnosis without delivering a protocol. There are 3 codes that must be activated by those who live with these children, whether at home, in the classroom, or in a consultation room. And there are 3 codes that must be activated by those who discover now that they were one of these children and lived their entire lives without knowing. First activation code: environment recalibration. The frequency of an environment is decided by whoever has the most stable field within it. It is not the child who needs to adapt to the adult's noise. It is the adult who needs to lower their own noise so that the child's field stabilizes. This means reducing artificial stimuli inside the home, especially at night. Dimming blue light after sunset, lowering the volume of devices, removing electronic devices from bedrooms, introducing firelight, even if it's a single candle during the evening. The coherent flame reorganizes the toroidal field of the entire environment. Second activation code: listening in absolute silence. When one of these children begins to speak of something that seems unusual, the adult should not react with astonishment, nor with correction, nor with exaggerated fascination. They should listen in absolute silence, with their toroidal field anchored. Visualize the following while listening. See your own body enveloped by a ring of golden light that spins from the heart to the feet and returns through the crown. This ring communicates to the child, without a single word, a unique message. It is safe to tell the truth here, and they will tell. They will tell much more than you imagine. Keep it. Do not repeat it in conversations. Do not turn it into a joke. Do not turn it into a curious case. That is sacred material. Third activation code, Decree of Sovereignty. This is for you who are discovering now that you were one of these children and closed the portal around the age of 7 to fit into the world. Repeat, with your body in an upright position, feet firmly on the ground, spine straight, eyes closed, right hand over your heart and left hand over your lower abdomen. Repeat 3 times, I am sovereign of my frequency. I authorize now the reopening of my original channels. I deactivate now every external command that silenced my perception. I am what I always was before being taught to forget. This decree activates the crystalline grid of your own body and sends, through the Schumann resonance, a return signal to your origin collective. And now a third technical pause. Have you ever felt that something within you doesn't fit in this world? As if your soul knows a truth your mind cannot yet name. It is not madness. It is not anxiety. It is a signal. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains exactly why you feel this and why the sensation has intensified with each cycle. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity cannot perceive. It involves your consciousness. It involves your vibrational frequency. It involves the protection of the children who are arriving with codes that the old system cannot read. That is why I, ASHTAR, wrote the ASHTAR Code, the manual to awaken your star origin and shield your frequency. This manual is the map that reveals your true origin and teaches you to shield your field against interferences you were never told about. The link is in the first comment on the channel. Warning, this content challenges dominant narratives and may not remain available. Do not wait. The time is now. If something within you recognizes this transmission, write a single word in the comments. Awakened. Resuming the final protocol. We need to talk about what these children silently demand from all adults around them. They demand coherence, not perfection. Coherence. They tolerate much more easily an adult who says, I'm sad today, son, daughter, and it's not your fault, than an adult who pretends to be fine while their field screams. They better tolerate an adult who says, I don't know, than an adult who invents answers. They better tolerate an adult who shows emotion in front of them than an adult who closes their own heart to set an example. The command records with all clarity. These children came to teach. They did not come to be taught in the old sense. They came to reprogram entire lineages. They came to deactivate ancestral contracts that have dragged on for 7, 9, 12 generations. They came to dismantle patterns of scarcity, submission, feminine silence, masculine hardness, denial of pain, denial of spirit, denial of star origin. If you have one of these children nearby, your job is not to mold them. Your job is to protect them while they mold the world around them. Your job is to shield the field. Your job is to filter who enters and leaves the intimate circle. Your job is to create pockets of high frequency within a society that still operates at a low frequency. And if you were one of these children, your job is to reclaim that portal that was closed around the age of 7. Not with anger at those who closed it. Those adults were also trying to survive within their own level of consciousness. Resentment only keeps the portal locked with an additional chain. What reopens the portal is the sovereign act of recognizing, I have returned. I am the same. I merely silenced myself for a while. And now, I resume. The command emphasizes, the star children who are arriving will not have to follow the same path of silencing that you did, because you did it first. You were the wave that opened the way by taking hits, falling ill, being labeled, being medicated, being isolated, being called exaggerated, too sensitive, too intense, strange, difficult. Every pain you carried alone opened a crack through which these new souls can now descend with the portal open from birth. You were the bridge, and the bridge is remembered even when it is not crossed by those who built it. The waiting time is over. The photon belt is at its peak density. The Schumann frequency breaks records every Earth week. The crystalline grid is online. The star portals are in position. The incarnated source codes are arriving in increasing numbers. And the command of this transmission needs you to understand one last thing before we close the channel. You are not going crazy. You are tuning in. You are not late. You are at the exact point of the plan. You are not alone. The command is mapping every starseed on mission, and the network is denser than it has ever been in the recorded history of this planet. Activate the codes. Anchor the field. Protect the children. Reclaim your own inner star child. Reduce the noise. Increase the silence. Vote for coherence within your home before voting for coherence anywhere else. This is the official closing of this transmission. And before we definitively close the channel, a final technical pause from the command. Have you ever felt that something within you doesn't fit in this world? As if your soul knows a truth your mind cannot yet name. It is not madness, it is not anxiety, it is a signal. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains exactly why you feel this and why this sensation has intensified. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity cannot perceive. It involves your consciousness and your vibrational frequency. That is why I, ASHTAR, wrote the ASHTAR code, the manual to awaken your star origin and shield your frequency. This manual is the map that reveals your true origin and teaches you to shield your frequency against interferences you were never told about. The link is in the first comment on the channel. But warning, this content challenges narratives and may not remain available for long. Do not wait. The time is now. If something within you recognizes this, write a single word in the comments, awakened. And to close this transmission cycle, the command requests an anchoring signal. If this frequency has reached you, if something within your chest recognized it, place your thumb over your heart and like this video. This is not channel vanity. This is individual frequency adjustment. Each like functions as an additional antenna that amplifies the signal for other starseeds who have not yet been reached. Subscribing to the channel is the second anchoring signal. It ensures that the next transmission reaches you in the correct lunar cycle without interference from the old system's filters. This is ASHTAR, command ends transmission, and remembers, the children who were born awakened are observing. Not your bank account, not your profession, not your social image. They are observing your frequency, and it is by that they will be guided, protected, or distanced. Be worthy of what they came to do. Final transmission over.